I'm Dr. Greg Pizzi, and this is Properly Partnered. Today, I'm going to talk about common myths that I hear all the time from gay men about relationships, dating, and sex. So, I'd like to clarify some of the pieces of information that I get in my work with gay men all the time. Here are some of the most common myths that I get. Gay men just aren't capable of close, intimate connections. That's just not true. However, there is some truth behind that statement. I wouldn't say aren't capable because that's an absolute. And of course, we're human beings. We have needs, we have feelings. All men do, whether you're gay or not. As opposed to not being capable of close, intimate relationships, it is often seen where both gay and straight men have a harder time establishing intimacy and closeness and becoming vulnerable on an emotional level. And a lot of that has to do with our culture, our upbringing, and the messages that we get growing up about what it means to be a man. We often get indirect messages starting from an early age as kids with the toys we're given to play with. Little girls in our culture will get a doll to be a mom and establish a bond, an emotional bond with this little doll. And boys will get trucks or guns or army men. And, we're expected to take action and make things happen and explode things and build things and knock them down. So it's no surprise that many men have a hard time establishing emotional connection. That goes for gay men as well. So that I would say is a more fair statement about gay men and closeness and intimacy. But we need it just as much as anybody else does. Another myth that I hear: all gay men cheat eventually, so it's no point trying to find a stable partner. Once again, when you're talking about anything in life, there are no absolutes. There really aren't. As much as it may seem like something is always the case, what we tend to be looking at is where our attention is directed. Gay men have more options. Men are more likely to want more sex. So when you have men that want more sex from other men, it's a recipe for more sex. Cheating, when it does occur, happens for a variety of reasons, and it's not because of a sexual orientation. It's not only even just men. In my 25 plus years of being a sex therapist and relationship therapist working with couples, I have come to see that women also cheat, lie, deceive, and have relationships that are outside their stated committed relationship. So that's a myth, and the sooner we get that statement out of our heads, the better off we will be. Another one similar is gay men only want sex. What can I say about this one? Gay men only want sex. Well, again, there's the absolute only. No absolute is going to work because it's not about only. Men do want sex. I think men want a lot of sex. And as human beings, sex is one of the most beautiful and pleasurable activities and experiences that we have. And not only does sex provide us with physical needs, but it provides us with emotional and social connections. It provides us with a feeling of safety. It provides us with a feeling of belonging and validation. So sex is very important, but of course it's not everything, and it's not what people only want. But it may seem like it's all people want because many gay men do go through the sexual route as a way of establishing connection from the get-go. So gay men in our society are often acculturated to immediately talk about their sexual prowess or their sexual interests or their sexual talents as a way of getting another man's attention. However, it doesn't have to be that way, but it does often happen. And that could easily lead to a misinterpretation that gay men only want sex. But I I'm sure that you would agree that you wouldn't be here listening to this or watching this right now if you only wanted sex. Sex is something that is easier to find than true intimacy and connection. So that's another myth that I hear a lot of the time. Another one that I get is all the good men are married or taken. It might seem to look and feel that way for a lot of people because good people, right? Well, good people are more likely to be attracted to other good people. So healthy people, when they get together with other healthy people, are more likely to form a bond. So when, as we gay men improve ourselves and become better version of ourselves, we grow and mature and improve and upgrade ourselves, then we're more likely to get on the same frequency as someone who's like us and also willing and able to provide what it takes to create a mature, serious relationship. But unless people are on the same wavelength, then that being a good guy is not going to matter. Another myth that I hear all the time is gay guys are all looking for a specific body type. Oh my gosh. Okay. I will just say right off the bat that that's not true because just as much as there's different body types in the world, there are also different tastes. We can never assume. I've often seen people assume that, well, that guy is tall, blonde, and muscularly defined, and I'm the opposite. I'm trying to be dramatic here. And then later come to find out that that person may be attracted to something completely different than what they are. I mean, this is extremely common. You have young guys that are looking for old guys. You have old guys that are looking for young guys. I had a client once who was 20 something years old and he wouldn't even look at a guy unless he was over 50. And then I also knew a guy who was 40 and was into guys that were so young that by the time they reached 25, they were already considered too old for him. So let's not assume, let's not cut ourselves short or shoot ourselves in the foot by assuming what somebody likes. Another myth. I don't have what it takes or the time to be in a relationship. That's a question of priorities. We all make time for the things that are important to us, and having a relationship, as just as much as trying to find a relationship or look for a relationship, are like a full-time job. Okay, being in a relationship, being intimately connected with another person is a 24-hour, 7-day a week adventure. And that doesn't mean you're with that person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, hopefully. But being in a mature relationship puts you in a mental state of being that is going on all the time. So if you feel that you're burnt out or that it takes too much time to be in a relationship or to find someone that you connect with, then you're probably going about it the wrong way. It is an investment of time and energy and spirit, but we all make time, again, for the things that are important to us. Another myth. If I get into a relationship, I'll be strapped down and lose my freedom and independence. Well, it depends what kind of relationship you get yourself into. That's why it's so important to find a proper match for you. The man who is your real and proper partner will not do things or ask things of you that make you feel strapped down and where you're losing your freedom and independence. So, part of being in a relationship is communicating your needs and your wants and setting boundaries. It's important to learn to ask for what you want and say what you need, especially in an intimate relationship, because you don't want to get into the habit where you're trying to read each other's minds or guess what's going on in each other's heads. So losing your identity and ability and freedom to do the things that are important to you should not happen when you are in a proper relationship. Another myth that I get all the time is that it's just way too hard to be in a relationship. Well, whether it's way too hard or not is a matter of perspective, but it does have its challenges. That's true. It does take work. Being in a relationship should not feel like torture. It should not feel like you're swimming against the current, constantly beating your head against the wall. When we find the person that we truly connect with and that we know brings out the best part of ourselves, that difficulty tends to be balanced by the other benefits that we get, and it doesn't feel like it's just too hard. It just feels just right. Another myth. that I get is people aren't willing to put in the energy necessary in order to get to know each other nowadays. Evidence of the fact that that's not true is that you're here right now. You and I are sitting here talking about what it takes to create and have a true, mature relationship. You're putting in the energy, you're taking time out of your day. I'm sitting here making a profession out of this. People may go about putting in the energy the wrong ways or investing their energy in unproductive ways because people need guidance. But human connection is a need that we all have, and it's natural for us to look to want to find someone special to share our lives with. Next myth. If you're not sexually compatible from the get go, then the relationship isn't going to work. Oh, okay. Well, that depends on what kind of relationship you're looking to have. Right? If you're looking to have a strictly sexual relationship and you don't find that you're sexual compatible, then you might as well move on. Because if you're only in it for the sex and the sexual compatibility isn't there from the get go, well, then there you go. You don't have it. But when we are looking for a deep emotional connection with another human being, in this case, gay men that are looking for another man to share our life with, to be our best version of ourselves with, to go places with, to do things with, to love with, to be loved by, to share all the beautiful and not so beautiful components of our life with, then sex is one more communication style that we need to work on. We're not going to love every single thing about that person. In fact, there may be some hell annoying things about the person. I mean, there's going to be. But sexual compatibility is not only about physical attraction, sexual positions, sexual practices. And it all depends on just how important the sex is for you, because some couples really value sex where it's super important to them. And there are some couples that it's just not the main course for them. They have other things to make them feel good. So don't assume right away that if you don't have great sex right away, when you meet the person, that it's not going to work, because honestly, you don't know this person. And real good, satisfying sex does not come from someone that you just met, usually. It comes from building a connection over time with someone that you have developed feelings for, and these things have to be worked through. Don't write things off if it doesn't seem like things are working sexually right off the bat. Second to last myth. If I get into a relationship, that means I'll never be able to have sex with anyone else unless I cheat on my partner. That's up to you. A relationship is like a contract, it's like an agreement. Some of it's spoken, some of it's unspoken. Some of it might even be written. Many couples find it helpful to write down some of the basic values that they share so that they can keep themselves on track about what they want for themselves in the relationship. But it's totally up to you if you are monogamous or not. You don't have to be monogamous in order to have a healthy, serious, real, true, intimate relationship. You don't have to never have sex with anyone else again just because you love the man that you're in a committed relationship with. What is unhealthy, damaging, and inappropriate is lying about it or deceiving your partner. That's why it's so important to decide what you want and talk about that with your partner or the guy you're getting to know, so that you both know who you each are and what you're looking for from the beginning, and you can work that into the connection as you go along. It doesn't help to hide it and then later on come out with it and say, well, by the way, I know we've been dating for 6 months, but I need to tell you that I really don't do monogamy, when for 6 months you were being monogamous with this person. Don't hide who you truly are. Talk to your partner about what you need. It's totally fine to say that that's what you want, but you don't have to cheat or lie. In fact, there's never a reason to cheat or lie. And that's one of the most beautiful things about an adult intimate relationship, is being able to be your true self with that person. The last myth we're going to go over today is I'll never find a partner if I'm actively looking for one. It's got to happen when I'm not looking or expecting it. This is a misunderstanding based on the law of attraction, that when you're trying to look for something, you can never find it, but the minute you stop looking for it, there it is, it shows up. This speaks to the law of attraction where we focus on the lack of something, okay? when we're looking hard for a partner or focusing on getting a partner, I want to have a partner, basically what we're doing is we are emphasizing how single we are. And the more we think about not having a partner, the more single we are and the more single we feel. And the more single we feel, the less partnered we're going to be because we are so used to living and thinking in a single way. So it's okay to take action and do things and put steps into action that make it more likely to find a partner or to date and meet someone because after all, you got to put yourself in that mental place of being open to receiving connection and attraction and feeling feelings of love and desire. So that's the active part. But the looking or the forcing it or trying to make it happen, that's when we get in our own way and prevent the magic from happening and we keep ourselves in a rut. I hope you found this list of myths that I commonly hear from gay men about sex, dating, and relationships to be helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.